Greetings and salutations, everyone! My name is Fire Mage, and welcome back to Rimworld Ascension Take 2, Episode 44. If you enjoy this episode, please remember to like and subscribe, and as always, mod list is down in the description. And with that, let's get on to the episode. Alright, well, picking up where we left off last time, what are my plans for today? Well, as we technically finished up last time, we are going to be upgrading our wall from wood to concrete, as in the time it took for them to actually make the wood wall, we have made quite a bit of concrete. Just like that, there we go. Now, that's obviously not the only thing we're going to do. The next thing we're going to be setting up is some sort of more proper lab so that we can build the, the high-tech research bench so that we can start researching all that fun stuff. Now, in order to make that, as I said, we need to make a lab, and I think we will set our lab up over here. So the first thing we'll do to make this lab is a little something like this. And then we will mine out the rest of this, like so, and then like this. It's not the most efficient design, but to be honest, we don't really do efficient designs all that often. So we're going to go ahead and put the build new lab on the list. We won't bother putting the replacement for the concrete on the list because that's not really something that needs to go on there. Now, on top of building the new lab, obviously, we have all this new open space we need to utilize. Now, the first thing I want to do in terms of utilizing this space is I want to make sure we establish a main road, which will be a 5-tile wide setup. That way our vehicles can actually, get around without potentially running anyone over. And then I want to put some houses up here so that we can remove these ones down here and rework this once again. So that's what we're going to be putting on the list. There we go. And those are going to be our 3 big projects for today. And also, just because we have this nice, sizable chunk of stone here, we are going to go ahead and build a quarry. That way, when our miners aren't mining out the laboratory or eventually the sky steel over here, they can work in the quarry and get us a good amount of resources. And packaged survival meals are researched. Those will be very useful in the future. Once we start sending out caravans that go a little farther, we'll need to, bring the food with us. Now, in terms of our next bit of research, let's go ahead and do electric pumps, and we'll just start doing some Bad Hygiene while we wait for that new lab to get built. And there we go, electric pumps are already done, as expected of our expert researchers. And now we have quite a few options. And I think the first thing we're going to go for is washing machines, which, as it stated, will remove the downside of wearing clothes from corpses, which means if they ever carry a bunch of really good gear, we can throw it in a washer, wash it up, and repurpose it. Or at the very least, sell it, make a profit. Of course, we'll have to build it, but building a laundromat shouldn't be too terribly difficult. And in the time it took for me to select that new research, Bicep successfully mined out the new laboratory. And we will be doing 2 high-tech research benches. And that should be just about all of that we need in terms of research tables. But of course, a lab isn't just research tables. We will also be placing in sterile tiles to get a nice little research speed bonus from that. And then, while we could build sterile walls, that would be too expensive, so we will instead replace these with concrete. Speaking of which, I just realized I made the outer walls here out of wood on accident. There we go. Much better. And then the final touch, in order to make it as efficient as possible, a handful of research counters. And that should be all the research counters that we can use. And our caravan seems to have run into a slight problem, in that it has completely and totally run out of fuel, which means it can't actually move. Well, that's not good. And on top of that, we actually don't have very much in reserve, so we'll need to do something about that. Now, we can get a little bit of fuel out of the Scythemen by simply recycling the ammunition that is already in it, like so. But that is only 20. It's not a lot. And unfortunately, I do not believe we can unload the fuel from the tank itself. So 20 fuel will simply have to do, and we will need to send a caravan out to intercept them there. We'll send out McFarland, since they are one of the newest members of the colony. Make sure we send them with enough food to not starve to death on the way there. And also bring some extra for everyone else. And that should be enough. Alright, 1.1 days. And our refuel caravan has arrived. Alright, well, let's go ahead and see if we can't merge them. There we go. Then refuel the mule, and it should now be back on the road, and hopefully 20 units of fuel is enough for it to get back. Seems like it should be. And once they get back, we will have to definitely be taking care of all of our new prisoners, because they are not looking too terribly happy. Can't imagine why. And it appears that the quarry has been finished. Very nice. Now, in theory, Bicep should be able to dig up precious materials such as stone, gold, platinum, but it is random, so it's not the most reliable way to go about getting resources. And, as you can see, he just got 29 steel. And also, apparently, White gained yet another Psylink while traveling. Oh, and it looks like BB has been properly recruited to the colony. Alright, BB, you are probably just going to do research, honestly. Not the best at anything else. So research, and when you're not doing research, I guess you can do concrete construction. And now the prison is empty. Perfect, because the caravan is arriving right now. And there it is. Alright, go ahead. Make sure to grab the prisoner. Speaking of which, where is the other prisoner? There is only Herring. Interesting. Well, the mule is almost out of fuel, unfortunately. Go ahead, fire that up. And... he's moving to escape. I see. I see. White, you are closer. Oh. And he's trying to resist. Go ahead, engage in melee, please. Do not kill. And let's go ahead and, while they're doing that, bring the mule on back inside the base. And unfortunately, it looks like Herring did manage to escape. Unfortunate. Well, that means that both of our prisoners are gone. That's unfortunate. I was really looking forward to getting to recruit those two. And washing machines are done. Wonderful. We'll need to obviously make a laundromat for that, but that will be something we'll do later. And next up, let's do industrial scale pumps. I feel like that'll be quite useful. And you know what? Let's actually go ahead and put build laundromat on the list. I feel like that would be quite the fun little project. And there we go. The new lab is finished. And that means that we are going to need to tear down the old one at some point. Not yet, of course, as we are still using it to finish up the industrial scale pumps. But once that's done, this old lab is gonna be going away. Although, I did just realize, I did forget to put in some chairs. We will do 2 cloth armchairs, and that should be quite beneficial for the researchers. Now that the lab is done, it is time for the next big project, which is, of course, to build the main road. Now, obviously, to properly build the main road, we'll need to pretty much tear down all this and rebuild it, but for up here, we can at least try to do something. Now, the first thing we need to do to build the main road is to set up areas for the vehicles to drive through. And the start of that is going to be to build some auto garage doors. Now, I'm thinking it would probably be best to have 2 entrances for the vehicles. One over here in the west and one over here in the east. That way, a vehicle could make a full loop, just to prevent any potential collisions. So that means we will need to deconstruct a hole in the wall here, and we will need to pretty much completely redo this one. And of course, we could just put the door here, but that kind of defeats the whole point of it being at a distance. So we will put the main door right over here, which is going to require us to pretty much deconstruct the entirety of this section of the wall and rebuild it out of concrete. And there we go. Industrial scale water pumps is done. And now that we have the actual good lab, it is time to begin on the fun bits of research. And we are going to start by researching deep drilling, because I need to get that all set up so we can start drilling and refining deep chem for our vehicles, because we need a lot of chem fuel, and that is likely going to be the most efficient way to go about getting it. Alright, and with the garage door now being finished and the new updated wall almost finished, it is time for us to begin the road. Now, I'm going to start off by making it out of packed dirt, because 1, I'm kind of lazy, and 2, I don't exactly know what material I want to use for the road. But I do know I need something, so packed dirt will have to suffice. Now, the basic idea here is going to be to run a road like so. Obviously, this is going to need to be made to look more like a proper curve, like that. And then we're basically just going to have it kind of just run all the way around. Speaking of which, that is ever so slightly too long. Then, of course, we will also need to run a packed dirt path up like this. And then pretty much just copy what we did over there. And there we go. That will be the first beginning bit of our new main road. And our first high-tech industrial is finished. Of course, deep drilling isn't very useful without ground-penetrating scanners, which is what we will be doing next. And with those two things, I believe we'll be able to start drilling for deep chem. Oh, and it looks like some beggars are asking for 700 silver, which is more than I have. And they're not part of any faction. Interesting. I think we might go ahead and try to capture some of these guys. Or at the very least, take them down and see who survives. Looks like they only have melee weapons, which will make this very easy. Let's go ahead and get everyone who we can ready. Obviously, the pacifists don't need to join us, and those without firearms need not try to fight. Alright, and the unfortunate beggars have arrived. Now, we gotta do this very, very carefully. We need to pick and choose who we want to try and arrest, and who we want to just try and gun down. So obviously, for instance, this guy is not worth it. He is unwaveringly loyal, and although skillful, unwaveringly loyal is just bad in general. And so is Linda, also unwaveringly loyal. Not ideal. Now, here's a good one. Sparkles is very good at crafting, artistic, and construction. Definitely gonna want to try and snag that. Alright, so I see two people who I want. Horatu and Sparkles. Now let's make sure we send those with the best chance to arrest. Now this is gonna be a very tense standoff, as I need to time this to the best of my ability. Now, Sparkles is the one we want the most, so we want to make sure we definitely grab Sparkles. Let's try it like this, and if all goes well, we should capture a good chunk of them. Alright, and we got Sparkles. Perfect. Alright, that's the main one I wanted. Alright, well, all of that, and we got a single prisoner, but we got a good prisoner. Unfortunately, now we have to clean up all those corpses. Oh, and there is apparently a battle going on in space above my colony. Lovely. Well, that means we are now going to have a lot of explosions going on, but also, potentially, people will fall and we can capture them. Luckily, it seems to be happening on the other side of the river. Hopefully none of that lands within our walls, but you never know. Oh, we got a survivor. Alright, let's see. You are death in 23 hours. You are a Saurid. Interesting. Interesting. And you have good mining skill. I see. Well, let's go ahead and send someone out to try and capture you. Actually, let's send somebody who's a little more expendable than the child. BB, go ahead and go try and capture Miss Popred. Oh, and we have another one up here. Kenna, a ship child, death in 6 hours. Unwaveringly loyal. Well, unfortunate for you, because that means you will not be getting rescued. But there's also now German, hello. Let's see, death in 8 hours. Okay, that's more doable. Level 20 crafting. We do already have Sparkles, who is level 16. However, I would not necessarily be opposed to getting someone with level 20. Alright, you know what? BB, go ahead and tend to German. McFarland, you can go and try to capture Pop Red. Yeah, we need to tend to German, though, because German is a genie, and that means they are going to bleed to death rapidly. Luckily, they only have the one injury, so it shouldn't be too terribly risky. And it seems that Camissa is leaving, and we failed the quest because Camissa was not kept happy enough. Not really my fault. Camissa kept flirting with Vera, who is married. So, not a whole lot I could really do on that front. In other news, though, although Camissa is leaving, apparently we have now reached the point in our ideology where people are starting to make demands. I've already begun working on them, such as putting 4 columns in our little ideology room, and eventually I'm going to make this art bench so that we can make the collective form, which is apparently a thing my people want. And we do have quite a few good artists in the colony. I mean, let's see. Bella Rose has 9, Senga has 8, BB has 7, and once we recruit Sparkles, we'll have an artistic skill of 15 in the colony, so I'm not too terribly worried about it. And there we go. Ground penetrating scanner is done. And with that, we'll be able to do all sorts of fun stuff. Next up is going to be precision rifling, so that we can start making better guns. And aside from those last 2 trees blocking the construction, the main road for our new northern section is complete. So we're going to go ahead and check that off, because the amount of work that's going to need to be put in to set that up down here is, well, astronomical, honestly. It's going to take a while. And with the main road set up now, we'll be able to start building houses and whatnot up here. But I will be saving that for the next episode because I'm leaving this episode off here. We made a lot of good progress. We got the lab built, the northern main road done, which means those are now off the list. We recovered our caravan despite some issues along the way, although we did lose those 2 prisoners. Counterpoint, we now have 3 new prisoners who literally fell from the sky. And next episode, we will be getting to work on building the houses up north. So that is something to look forward to. And with our ground penetrating scanners, we're going to start working on finding some deep chem, so we can start fueling our vehicles a lot easier. But with all that said and done, I will see you all in the next episode.